What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to another video, man. Today's reaction, we got the real reason why NBA players hate Rudy Gobert. This may be about the COVID thing itself, but let's go ahead and see what the real truth is.
I love the anonymous players poll because you find out what guys really think. Every year, The Athletic surveys over 100 players, and this year, the most overrated player in the NBA, Rudy Gobert.
I never knew that there was a
That's not surprising. Guys like Draymond have been
I never knew that there was a unanonymous players poll.
Openly mocking Rudy for years.
One thing I can assure you, if I didn't make it this year, I wasn't gonna cry. I 100%.
Yeah, everyone's laughing with Draymond. But why? There's actually another question players were asked that explains the hate. Gobert has been at the center of a lot of NBA controversy. In 2019, he had just knocked off Draymond for Defensive Player of the Year. At the time, he was All-NBA, two-time All-Defense, but when the All-Star came out, Rudy was left off. Back in France, his mom was devastated, and she called him crying. She raised Rudy as a single mom after his dad left the family. It was hard because she was white, raising a mixed kid. They got a lot of hate and had each other's back. So Rudy just got off the phone with her when reporters showed up to practice. He tried to put on his best face, but broke down.
And then my mom caught me crying. It's always going to be that way.
Damn.
No one cared that this had to do with his mom. Draymond Green immediately tweeted, "Guess I should cry too, because he didn't make the Charlotte All-Star." Andre Iguodala said, "He gonna cry in the car?"
He gonna cry in the car.
But the Draymond feud got worse. They would send jabs back and forth on social media. Like when Dre punched Jordan Poole, Rudy tweeted, "Insecurity is always loud." And on November 14th in San Francisco, Klay Thompson and Jaden
I remember this part.
Rudy jumped in, so Draymond dragged him by the throat across the court. The NBA suspended him for 5 games, but he later said he didn't regret what he did.
Something wrong with that man.
That is some serious hate, but it doesn't explain why. An even bigger controversy happened March 2020. There were rumors about some virus spreading across the globe. And Gobert made a joke touching all the reporters.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Turns out he had the virus and the NBA shut down. Of course, since it was Gobert, he's to blame for the whole pandemic. Even Donovan Mitchell was furious that he got sick after his teammate. Since then, Gobert has become quite the skeptic online. Just look at his Twitter likes. Suing a vaccine company. Love it. Russell Brand conspiracies? More, please. Gobert has now become one of the main guys who thinks NBA referees are fixing games. This year, when Scott Foster called a foul he didn't like, Gobert threw up the money sign in his face. So the NBA fined him $100 grand, the biggest
they shouldn't have fined him
all year. People say players can't stand that conspiracy stuff, plus the COVID incident. But that's not true. Plenty of players think the NBA is rigged, and this goes back years before the pandemic. Is it because he's French? Well, European players are outsiders sometimes and don't get respect. But Victor Wembanyama is French. They respect him, and they like Tony Parker, Boris Diaw, Nicolas Batum. The reason Gobert is hated is this other anonymous player poll question. Who is the best defender? Who do you think it is? They say Victor Wembanyama. No surprise. I get that. Number 2, Drew Holiday. Number 3, Lou Dort. Number 4, Herb Jones. 5,
Herb Jones.
Rudy's own teammate, Jade McDaniels. And 6, Rudy Gobert.
What?
So you are telling me a guy who's going to tie the record for 4 Defensive Player of the Years isn't even the best defender on his own team?
Like what?
Bottom line, they do not respect Gobert as a player. Hoopers only respect 2 things, winning and skills. If a guy doesn't have a bag and he also doesn't win, he's trash. It's like the anti-Kyrie Irving. Kyrie is one of the most polarizing players for the media and with fans. A lot of people hate him, some people love him. Among players, everyone loves Kyrie. I've been around a lot of All-Stars, and he, by far, is my favorite, is what a lot of players say. He's had a ton of controversy against his own teammates even, but he's the most skilled player in the league. Hoopers look at other guys like it's one-on-one. Could I beat him? I mean, how could Gobert make $200 million when I could smoke that dude one-on-one? Yeah, he's good at defense, I guess, but dude averaged 14 points and 13 rebounds at like 7'1". Have you seen his offense? Going up for a dunk? Somehow, air balls at the rim.
Oh, that's crazy.
Rudy getting into his
No, that's
bag.
crazy.
That's a travel, buddy. And on the very next possession, he fumbles an easy lob, which he does a lot, actually. And players love when this dude fails. This year in LA, Gobert at the foul line. Almost airballs the first. The Clippers bench loves it. Russ was being filmed by a fan, almost lost his
Hey, let me know when you do this song. I got you. I'm watching for you right now.
However,
nah, that's crazy.
Rudy sees that they are laughing, takes note, and responds with 15 points, 18 boards, 4 blocks, hits 4 clutch free throws to win the game.
Wow.
He is not terrible at basketball, but guys think he's a glorified role player because they're jealous. He picks up awards every year, got traded for 5 first-round picks and players like a superstar, and he makes more money. Imagine if every office posted their salaries on the internet. People would be like, Jim makes twice as much as me? He sucks. I am so much better than Jim. Screw him. Then everyone around the office just hates Jim, especially if he sucked in his biggest moment. The Jazz were up 2-0 in the 2021 playoffs, but the Clippers stormed back. They won the last 4 games, averaging 125 points per game. Ty Lue switched to a small ball lineup to avoid Gobert's rim protection. Then, in Game 6, Gobert was matched up with Terrence Mann, who hit 7 threes for a career-high 39
That's a horrible
points.
mismatch.
Utah eliminated. How is that the Defensive Player of the Year? Well, the truth is, Utah had horrible defenders. Gobert couldn't guard the rim and man out to the perimeter at the same time.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna
he
work.
actually can guard multiple positions, but that night, he had no help. Shaq didn't like to tweet calling him Baguette Biombo, which is actually hilarious. So a lot of players are jealous of Rudy
That's
Gobert
racist.
because they
That's a
don't
little racist.
respect him. But part of this is his fault. In response to the hate, Gobert said, most people are followers. They just follow what's the common trend. What's the common thing to laugh about? Well, unfortunately, in this generation, it's more about how much attention it's going to bring more than about the truth. He also posted an article on the Players Tribune explaining how misunderstood he is. I am sorry. No one wants to hear that, Rudy.
Yeah.
The more defensive a person gets about their reputation, the less people like them. If he had just a little bit of humility about it, maybe even made fun of himself once in a while, I think people would get to like him. Remember the analogy of Jim at the office, who makes more than everyone? Well, what if Jim was also a defensive a-hole who had no friends? You think that helps? I do think that Rudy is unfairly hated, but he could do just a little bit more to be likable. And speaking of unlikable, last year's most overrated player was Trae Young. Now, all the reports say Atlanta
He might be this
will
year's.
trade him. But I predict that won't happen because trading Trae might actually be impossible.
Wow. I definitely feel like Rudy Gobert does get a lot more hate than he should. And yeah, you cannot take away from the fact that how is he overrated, and he puts up points as Defensive Player of the Year. He puts up hella points on the offensive side of the ball as well, getting multiple rebounds. I don't agree with that. I'm gonna be real. I'd say the only part of where the hate is pretty much arguable, or not even really arguable, is about the COVID situation when he gave his teammate Donovan Mitchell COVID. But yeah, all in all, I definitely feel like yeah, they be bullying that nigga. Like, plain and simple, bro. They be bullying the big guy. You ever like been in school and it's always the guy that's the tallest or whatever, or they, you know what I'm saying, they like to pick on him or whatever. That's kind of how this situation low-key looks at least to me. But let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. And I believe he's going to end up getting Player of the Year again, Defensive Player of the Year or whatever again this year, if I'm not tripping. But we got to wait and see. Yeah, like I said, though, it's your boy Caprice the Great, and I'm out. No cap.